Universal had already tried to remake their classic properties, Dracula and Frankenstein, in the early 90s. Their production value was high, but the reactions were similarly lukewarm. Critics seemed to enjoy the aesthetic and the presentation of the films in their dark, Victorian tones, but never seemed to feel too engaged or unsettled by these films. Missing from these 90s remakes was the Wolfman. Where were they on this one? I'm guessing they didn't try it then because there was no source material like Dracula or Frankenstein had, or maybe it was a rights issue. It seemed there was talk throughout most of the early to mid 2000s about a potential Wolfman remake, but for the longest time, it just seemed like talk. After some production delays, The Wolfman received its 2010 release date. This excited me instantly. I wasn't too enthusiastic that a remake was coming, but I was sucked in by the production value shown in the trailer. This looked high on production value, going back to Victorian-era Wales, just like the original. With Anthony Hopkins, Benicio del Toro, and Hugo Weaving involved with the picture, there was hope for this film to do well. But unfortunately, this one was another bit of a mixed bag. On one end, you have remarkable production value, absolutely fantastic by all accounts. I'll give the filmmakers credit by mentioning they were very faithful to the original makeup. The Wolfman's makeup is fantastic, and even won Oscars. You heard that right, this is an Oscar-winning horror movie. Also, when the Wolfman gets into action and he begins his terror on the town, it's a hell of a lot of fun. The Wolfman runs and jumps around in a very convincing and animalistic way, and it expands on the abilities shown in the original film. That, and they don't hold back on how vicious this Wolfman is. He rips people apart without thinking, and that leads to some great on-screen moments. But the fatal flaw of this movie is one that's just too overwhelming. When the Wolfman isn't on screen, this film is so slow, so boring, and so predictable. Anthony Hopkins has a very mundane and pedestrian performance, Hugo Weaving is underutilized, and the dreary production design doesn't help in a lot of the brooding and dull dialogue scenes. You just find some scenes where you're really almost falling asleep, and I think I was falling asleep in the theater when I was watching this myself. It slows the movie down so much and detracts from what is, at times, an exciting ride. And then you have a problem with CGI. The way the movie does so well with its real prosthetics and makeup effects for the Wolfman, they cop out with a very lame CGI ending and some really painful to watch effects. That just takes away so much from the actual effort that was put into this movie, and it makes it really difficult to forgive them after giving a promising opening and a lot of the first and second act being a lot of fun based on the real effects. In not even a decade since its released, it's already been forgotten. While having a lot of good qualities and winning Oscars, this movie has dwindled back into obscurity from our minds, and now a new Universal horror series is being revamped for the future. Maybe if this gets the benefit of more time, we will all look at it differently, especially because of how fun the Wolfman scenes are. For now though, this is just another mixed bag in the Universal remake library.